Welcome to SATV News. This is Anaf Hussain with the headlines. No reason to believe any party will be able to disrupt election by committing terrorist acts, says Amir Khosrow. EU wants democracy to return through fair polls. 8 political parties including Jamaat-e-Islam announced continuous sit-in at Jamuna from November 16 if demands are not met. Interim government will create framework for the pay commission, says finance advisor. Next government will implement. Now, in details. BNP Standing Committee member Amir Khosrow Mahmood Choudhury today said that the EU wants democracy to return to Bangladesh through a fair election. He also said that the EU will send observers and provide assistance to the Election Commission to ensure a free and fair election in Bangladesh. He made these comments while briefing journalists following a meeting between BNP Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir and EU Ambassador to Dhaka Michael Miller at the BNP chairperson's political office. The BNP leader reiterated that the EU's main focus was on the election, informing the party they would assist the Election Commission, send observers and speak with civil society. Mr. Khosrow also said there is no reason to believe that any party would be able to disrupt the election by committing terrorist acts. Commenting on the Awami League's lockdown program, he said, the Awami League is not in the electoral race and neither is their leader. So there is nothing to discuss about their program. 8 political parties including Jamaat-e-Islam have announced plans to launch an indefinite site in front of the Chief Advisor's residence Jamuna if their demands are not met. The announcement came during a joint press conference following a meeting of the parties at Al Falah Auditorium in the capital's Mog Bazar area today. The alliance top leaders have given the government until November 16 to meet their 5-point demands. Jamaat Secretary General Mia Gholam Parwar said the alliance expects a peaceful resolution through dialogue with the chief advisor. The main demand is to hold a referendum on the order of the National July Charter before the national election. Gholam Parwar said, adding that they want the polls to be held on time in February. Meanwhile, the parties including Jamaat and Islami Andolon have decided to be active on November 13 to prevent potential acts of sabotage centering the Awami League's announced program. Finance advisor Dr. Salahuddin Ahmed has said that the interim government will create a framework for the pay commission, which will be implemented by the next government. He made the remarks while responding to a question today over the pay scale after attending the meetings of the Advisor Council Committee. He also said the pay commission is carrying out its work independent with no direct involvement from the government. He also said the reconciliation process will take time as it must go through several stages of security and review. After receiving the reports, the government will need to reconcile and review them. Then the recommendation will be examined by the secretary-level committee, followed by the Ministry of Public Administration and the Finance Division. Only after these steps can be taken for implementation. Mr. Salahuddin Ahmed further added, "21 judges appointed as permanent judges of the High Court Division of the Supreme Court took their oath today. Chief Justice Syed Rifat Ahmed administered the oath at the Supreme Court Judges' Lounge at 1:30 p.m. The oath ceremony was conducted by the Registrar General Muhammad Habibur Rahman Siddiq. He said the Justice Syed Inayat Hossain, who is currently hospitalized, will take oath at a later date. Earlier on Tuesday, President M.D. Shahabuddin appointed 22 additional High Court judges as permanent judges. A decision formalized through a notification issued by the Law and Justice Division of the Ministry of Law. Last year, on 8 October, 23 judges were appointed as additional judges for a term of up to 2 years. From the group, 22 have now been confirmed as permanent judges. The government has deployed 14 platoons of Border Guard BGB in Dhaka and adjoining districts to maintain law and order amid incidents of vehicle torching by miscreants. Shariful Islam, Public Relations Officer at the BGB headquarters, said on this morning that 12 platoons have been stationed in Dhaka, while the remaining 2 have been deployed in nearby districts of the capital. The paramilitary force has been positioned at key locations including Hotel Intercontinental, Dhanmondi 32, Airport, Abdullapur, Kakrail, Shishu Academy, the High Court area and Abrar Fahad Avenue. The move comes ahead of the International Crimes Tribunal 1 announcement of the verdict date in the case against former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and 2 of her close associates over crimes against humanity. Miscreants today set fire to a Grameen Bank branch in Vijayanagar Upazila of the Brahmanbaria. The incident occurred around 2 a.m. at the bank's Chandra branch in the Upazila. Bank manager MD Kalim Uddin said the attackers poured petrol inside the office before setting it on fire. The night guard quickly raised the alarm, and with the help of locals, the blaze was brought under control before it could spread further. According to station officer of the Vijayanagar fire station, furniture and documents were damaged in the fire, though the bank's vault and cash remained intact. Officers in charge of Vijayanagar police station said no one witnessed the culprits sitting in the fire, but an investigation is underway to identify those responsible. Viewers, we are taking a short break. Stay with us.
Suites with bulletproof glass, fiberglass swimming pool, relaxing spa, well-equipped gym. Experience panoramic beauty at SATV Restaurant. Welcome to Grand Palace Hotel. Grand Palace Hotel and Resorts, Jollar Par, Zinda Bazar, Silet, Bangladesh.
বাংলাদেশে দীর্ঘ ৩৭ বছরের সাফল্যের অগ্রযাত্রায় এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস এখন আধুনিক ও শৈল্পিক স্থাপত্য শিল্পের দেশ মালয়েশিয়ার কুয়ালালামপুরে। লাখো গ্রাহকদের প্রয়োজনের দিক লক্ষ্য রেখে নিশ্চিত, বিশ্বস্ততা ও আন্তর্জাতিক মানের সেবা এখন ডোর টু ডোর। এসএ পরিবহন কুরিয়ার অ্যান্ড পার্সেল সার্ভিস SDN BHT 120 Jalanthun HS Lee 50050 কুয়ালালামপুর, মালয়েশিয়া। এসএ পরিবহন পার্সেল অ্যান্ড কুরিয়ার সার্ভিস আপনার সেবায় সবসময়।
Explore the magnificent view of Rangpur.
Welcome back. You are watching SATV News. Pakistan has accused India of orchestrating a deadly suicidal blast that killed at least 12 people and injured more than 30 outside a district court in Islamabad on Tuesday, intensifying regional tensions as officials also pointed fingers at Afghan-based militants. According to Interior Minister Mohsin Naqvi, the explosion occurred at 12:39 p.m. near the district judicial complex when the attacker detonated explosives beside a police vehicle after failing to enter the premises. He confirmed the blast was a suicidal attack. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif condemned the bombing and linked it to another assault earlier in the day on an army-run cadet college near the Afghan border. Both attackers are the worst example of Indian state terrorism in the region, Sharif said, accusing New Delhi of backing militants operating from Afghan territory. British Health Minister Wes Streeting denied on Wednesday he was plotting to bring down Keir Starmer after allies of the Prime Minister briefed newspaper that they feared an attempted coup could come later this month after the budget. Starmer steered his Labour Party to one of the biggest election victories in British history in 2024, but just 16 months later, it is languished in the polls and poised to break one of its main election pledges to increase income taxes for the first time since 1970. Several British media outlets of Wednesday cited allies of Thomas saying the Prime Minister would fight any challenge to his leadership, while stating and Interim Minister Shabana Mahmood named as possible candidates to replace him. That brief categorically untrue, stating, told BBC Radio. During the early media round of talking to broadcasters, stating said the briefing of a challenge were self-defeating because they gave the impression Starmer was fighting for his job when he was instead focused on fighting to improve Britain. All 20 personnel on board a Turkish military cargo plane that crashed in Georgia was killed, Turkey's defense minister announced on Wednesday. The C-130 plane was flying from Ganja, Azerbaijan to Turkey when it crashed in Georgia's Shingai municipality close to Azerbaijan border. On Tuesday, the cause of the crash is being investigated. A Turkish accident investigation team reached the crash site and was inspecting the wreckage of the plane in coordination with the Georgian authorities. The National Defense Ministry said Georgian Interior Minister Galagel said authorities have so far recovered the remains of 18 of the victims and efforts were continuing to locate the other two. Syrian President Ahmad al-Shara said Monday that his ties to al-Qaeda are a matter of the past, emphasizing that he did not play any role in 9/11 despite his past affiliation. He added that his country is entering a new era in its relationship with the United States, including openness to U.S. brokered diplomacy or normalization with Israel. The comments aired during an interview with Fox News' Gillian Turner at 6 p.m. EST during Shara's landmark visit to Washington, his first since taking power late last year after his Islamist group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham toppled longtime ruler Bashar al-Assad. His trip marks the first time a sitting Syrian leader has visited the White House.
Actively, and I'm going to do everything in my power so that she can have important and enough information about her son.
Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has suggested that if the United States tests nuclear weapons, Russia will respond in kind. He added that Moscow will conduct nuclear tests if any other nuclear power does so. Lavrov cited on Tuesday previous statements by Russian President Vladimir Putin laying out Moscow's policy. His comments came less than 2 weeks later after U.S. President Donald Trump said he directed his administration to immediately resume nuclear testing. Putin outlined our position back in 2023. When he was asked about this issue during one of his speeches, Lavrov told reporters, according to Russia's state-owned news agency TASS, he stated that if any other of nuclear powers conducts a nuclear weapons test, no, not a carrier test or subcritical experiment, but an actual nuclear weapon test, the Russia will respond in kind. France will help the Palestinian Authority draft a constitution for a future state, President Emmanuel Macron said on Tuesday after talks with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas in Paris. A number of major Western nations, including France, formally recognized a Palestinian state in September, a move driven by frustration with Israel over its devastating war in Gaza and a wish to promote a two-state solution to the Middle East conflict. A U.S.-brokered Israel-Hamas ceasefire took hold in October, but Israel again rejected any prospect of Palestinian statehood. Macron said France and the Palestinian Authority, which exercises limited self-rule under Israeli military occupation in the West Bank, would set up a joint committee to work on drawing up a new Palestinian constitution. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro signed into a law on Tuesday a new national defense framework ordering the immediate activation of integral defense commands to unity civilian and military forces. According to state television, Maduro, in a broadcast address, cited the law institutionalizes a new network of state and military bodies to respond to these threats, and called for readiness even for armed struggle to defend Venezuela's sovereignty. The president also announced the launch of a nationwide military police exercise, Independence Force Deployment 2025, to test real-time deployment of weapons and systems across all regions. According to Maduro, the law and exercise are part of Venezuela's Bolivarian doctrine of defense and intended to safeguard peace, democracy, and the country's political model.
Firmada, aprobada, refrendada, hoy, martes.
Ukraine's government has suspended Justice Minister German Gloshkar, the Prime Minister said on Wednesday, amid an investigation into corruption in the energy sector. Ukrainian authorities charged 7 individuals in relation to an alleged $100 million kickback scheme involving senior energy officials that has caused public anger and focused attention on Kyiv's battle against corruption. Voloshin, who had previously served as energy minister, was the subject of investigative action. His ministry said on Tuesday it did not specify whether this was in relation to the energy corruption case investigation by the National Anti-Corruption Bureau. Golos Hechko agreed with the government's decision, saying suspensions for the duration of the investigation is a civilized and appropriate scenario. In a post on Facebook.
Я просто я собі думаю, вони точно розуміють про що.
China's foreign ministry on Wednesday voiced its strong opposition to a Japan move to award the Order of the Rising Sun to former Taiwan representative in Japan, Hin Ching-ting, during its 2025 autumn conferment of decoration of foreign nationals. The Japanese government's insistence on proposing and prompting an award of for an individual advocating Taiwan independence is yet another erroneous move by Japan on Taiwan-related matters. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Guo Jikun said at a regular news briefing. The comments was the latest in a diplomatic chat spat between China and Japan after Japanese President Sans Takaichi sparked furor with remarks in Parliament last week that a Chinese attack on Taiwan could amount to a survival-threatening situation and trigger a potential military response from Tokyo. Tanzania's 13th parliamentary convent on Tuesday following a continuous general election that has fueled nationwide protest and raised concerns over democratic process. The ruling Chama cha Mapinduzi party secured more than 90% of the parliamentary seats, commenting its dominance in the legislature. The overwhelming majority has drawn security from citizens and political analysts over the potential implication for democratic debate in the parliament. The election period saw allegations of the irregularities and violent demonstrations, with security forces accused of cracking down on opposition supporters. Rights groups have urged investigation into the arrest and the conduct of the polls. Before ending, we go through the headlines again. No reason to believe any party will be able to disrupt election by committing terrorist attacks, says Amir Khosrow. EU wants democracy to return through fair polls. 8 political parties, including Jamaat-e-Islam, announced continuous sit-in at Jamuna from November 16 if demands are not met. Interim government will create framework for the pay commission, says finance advisor. Next government will implement. You're up to date with our top stories so far here on SATV. And to know the latest news, visit www.satv.tv. Stay with us.